To some it's man, to some it's decorator, and still to some it is worshipper. Whichever one it is to you, thanks for joining me.
Welcome aboard. Hello, everybody, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Kwanele Nomonde Mncube, and if you are still here, thank you so much. And if this is your first time, welcome aboard. As you can see, I am not here alone. Even today, I am with someone whom I regard as a powerhouse, which is what she is indeed. And I'm not going to speak much about who she is, but I just want her to speak and tell us about herself, where she comes from, what she does. So over to you. Please tell us, who are you?
Okay. First of all, thank you for the invite. I'm really happy to be here.
Pleasure.
And I think when people say introduce yourself, it's one of those things where you're like, okay, what do
Where
I
must I
say?
start?
Where do I start?
Yeah.
So I guess the best place to start is my name, Thembela Rozani. I'm born in KZN. It was formerly in the Eastern Cape, in a place called Umzimkhulu.
Oh yes.
Okay. And my journey has been one of really self-discovery and really finding out who I am. And what that led me to is in 2020 actually certifying as a life coach.
Okay. Yes.
So I'd say most of my time now is taken up by that. Really just
life
empowering
coach.
others, yes. Rediscovering who they are,
Yes.
rediscovering their purpose, particularly in God. Yes.
I love that. I love that. So you speak of life coaching.
Yes.
Do you mind just telling us what that is about and why it is something that you honor so much? What does it mean to you? What does it mean to you to give to others?
So I like to explain life coaching in this way, right? It's a vehicle that helps you to get somewhere in life, right? So if you're a person who has particular goals that you want to achieve in life, then the tools that coaching can offer you is a vehicle to help you achieve your goals or get to a particular destination. And when I found coaching in my own life, I was in a space where I was ready to be accountable.
Yes.
I was ready to take responsibility for my life. And what that looked like is I had to come to a point where I realized that my past doesn't have to equal my future. So if that was true, I needed to then be willing to say, okay, I cannot change the past. And how can I create the future that I want?
Yeah.
So coaching then is also about holding one accountable. So if you say this is what you want, what are you prepared to do to get it? So as a life coach, I support people in their journey of getting to where they want to get.
Yeah.
But you have to be willing, you have to take responsibility for your life.
I love that. I love that you speak about how the person must be willing. And most of the time, we are not willing. But also, most of the time, we don't know that we need help in certain areas.
Right.
So, in terms of life coaching, who would you say is a person that needs to consult a life coach?
So a lot of the times, you get a sense of you're stuck in life, right? Or you get a sense of there's more to life, there's more that I can do, but you've kind of reached a ceiling, whether it's in your career or in your relationships, there's something called the Johari window, and one of those quadrants is about areas that are your blind spots and areas that are unknown to yourself.
Okay.
So you always need to have a mindset, I believe, in life of wanting to discover what else, because we are never finished,
Yes.
we are constantly learning and evolving. So when you're ready for coaching, it's when you're ready to explore outside of your comfort zone. And that's sometimes an area that a lot of people struggle with, but once you kind of say, okay, what else is there for me that I can do? Who am I prepared to become in order to really fulfill all my dreams? You kind of need to do something you've never done before.
Yeah.
You need to start asking questions.
Yeah.
A lot about life coaching is really asking people the right questions that unlock their potential. Because a lot of the time we know what we need to do.
Oh, yes.
I believe we know. And sometimes it's just about asking the right questions that get a person on the right path that they need to be on.
That is beautiful. And what you just said now about doing, most of the time we know what needs to be done, but we don't always do that. And that brings me to something which I know about you, but
Yeah.
the viewers don't, okay? So you are about to release a journal, okay? And I have found that your journey to coming to this point of I'm letting go, I'm releasing this journal. It is something that God has given me, and the people must see it because God put it in my heart. I want you to talk about what that journey was like from receiving the word from God, in terms of creating the journal, and finally getting to that point where you're like, I'm releasing it. Can you just talk to us more about that?
Okay, so to be honest with you, this has been in my heart for probably the past 2 to 3 years. And I'm a person who, like, every time I have like inspiration or I come across something that I find to be very empowering or life changing, I want to share that with others. So over the years, I've been collecting different tools that I believe that have helped me, and I really wanted as many people as possible to come across these tools, because I think for me, one of the things is, in order to change, you need to be empowered with the right tools. And with the journal, so as I went along just collecting different tools, in my heart I was like, okay, what would this look like? Eventually I was like, okay, I'd like to create a journal with this, because I'd like to impact as many people's lives as possible. So the tools really are to empower those that feel like they want to gain more self-awareness about themselves. They want to work through limiting beliefs. That's one of the things that I struggle with. For the longest time, I told myself a particular story. God, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? And I felt stuck in that mindset. And I needed to shift out of that mindset. And it was a very limiting mindset. So really the journal is about to empower others to realize that you can live an extraordinary life. Sometimes it's about finding the right tools that help unlock that potential within yourself. And I believe that within us we already have everything we need to be successful in life. And when I started my coaching journey in 2020, literally it was during the lockdown, and I also went through, like many other people, a state of discovery. Okay, what really matters to me in life? What is my purpose? What is the legacy I want to leave behind one day? And I realized I really want to make an impact in life. And I knew within my career I would need to sort of shift. So last year I actually shifted and transitioned from being a full-time corporate employee, working 9 to 5, and I've just been self-employed for the past almost year now. And mainly most of the time has been focusing on the journal. So I'm looking to launch it in October of this year. So it's a 2023 journal. And within the journal are specific exercises. So it's a very focused way of journaling.
Okay. So, what can a person expect in reading this journal?
So, the heart of the journal really is to live a life of your choosing. I find that a lot of us are living a life that we feel like it's based on your upbringing, it's based on your environment. And a lot of people are not realizing the power they have to choose. And I got to a place where I was like, I wanted better for myself. And the journal literally is set up in a way that each and every month there's specific exercises that allow you to grow and get to know yourself and rediscover who you are. And really be in a position where you can look at your life and say, everything that I'm doing, I do because I choose to do it.
Absolutely.
So you really need to be ready to take accountability for your life and say, okay, that's the big thing. Where you kind of realize that you are the master of your own destiny. And if you are ready to rise to the occasion and fully embrace that, and to fully embrace that means you fully embrace yourself, you accept yourself, and then you use the tools necessary to get you to that place.
So it's basically What I'm getting the most from you is that you need to be ready to start owning up.
Yes.
Right? But owning up can be difficult. And so you need people around you who are going to be willing to tell you the truth.
Absolutely.
And so I want us to talk about that then. Now, in respect to you, how have you managed to overcome those hard truths about yourself?
Sure, it's a tough one, right? I think for me, I was at a place where I was willing to accept the truth.
Okay.
And when you are willing to accept the truth and you understand that you want to grow, then even when it's uncomfortable, you're prepared to face it because you understand that this is going to make you better. I remember like one of the affirmations that I kind of developed for myself was, even when I heard something difficult, if I knew it was true, I would affirm to myself, this is good for me. This is good for me. And I also had to also be very intentional about the people that I would ask for that kind of feedback.
Yes.
But I also had to understand that in receiving that honest feedback, it's not for you to judge yourself. It's not for you to defend yourself and say, but I'm not that bad, you know. It's actually for you to learn from it. And actually have grace for yourself and say, okay, this is where I am. I've got a long way to go, but you need to be aware at where is your starting point. And you kind of have to start from there and progress in your journey and believe that you'll get there. You have to believe that everything you're doing with intention is for growth.
Yes.
And growth is uncomfortable.
Yes, absolutely.
But when we embrace it, we actually on the other side of that find who we are and that we've always had the strength.
Okay. So it's about embracing. I love that you say that when you hear these hard truths, you don't come with defense and you don't come with excuses either. Because I find that that is something that we often do and it hinders us from actually realizing our fullest potential. The journey of self-discovery, it also involves discovering your God-given talents, right? And discovering your God-given talents means that you have to hone them and then put them to good use. So how has that been for you? Let me start by saying, what are some of the talents that you have realized about yourself, and what has the process been like, the process of honing your gifts and actually getting to that point where you are like, okay, now I'm ready for the world to see it. How has that been for you?
Sure. Okay, that's been a challenging process on my side. I think I'm very good at nurturing others and allowing them to shine. But when it came to really allowing myself to shine, I shied away from that. And I believe that one of the gifts that God has given me is to encourage others and inspire others. Like if you are down and out, I'm the kind of person that can really remind you who you really are.
Okay.
When you have forgotten about how brilliant you are, I can remind you that, you know, and really, and that's an affirmation, you know, over the years people would say, you know, you really helped me that day. I'd given up on life, you know, I was about to make a decision that I couldn't take back. And having a conversation with you really helped me. And just over the years paying attention to that and saying, wow, okay. There are clues, you know, that God has been showing me all along, that pay attention to the feedback that people give you, you know. I'm really great, I believe, at speaking and communicating with others. And those are the things that I'm looking forward to doing more of now. In the past, I would say I did really shy away from feeling like God had called me, because I would look at my past and be like, God, like, are you sure about this thing, God? Are you sure you've called me? And I think sometimes we do that to our own detriment, where we look at our shortcomings and we look at our mistakes and we think that all of this disqualifies you from God using you. And God had to really show me that, you know, there's nothing I've ever done that can disqualify me, you know. And literally all we have is by the grace of God.
Yes, yes.
So I'm at a point now, literally everything I do in faith.
Oh,
you know,
yes, yes.
I'm stepping out in faith. Me and you sitting here took me stepping out in
Oh,
faith.
wow. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm just at a point where I've decided that God has given me gifts and I need to use them. You know, I have the responsibility to develop those gifts. Even the tools that I've used that have helped my life, you know, I have a responsibility to share that with as many people as possible.
That's very beautiful, and I love that you also mention that you had to tussle or war a lot with the fact that you were called because you were thinking about your past and etc., etc. So I would like you to just say a few words to someone who feels that they are unusable, so to speak. To a person who is saying, oh my goodness, I know myself and it is impossible that I've been called, or I have been called, but now there are people who knew me in the past and I don't know what they will say if I should step out now. Will they even take me seriously? You know, so I just want you to speak words of encouragement to such a person. What would you say to such a person?
The first thing I would say is, whose report will you believe? Who does God say you are?
Oh, okay. Oh my God.
Like, I had to get to that point where
Yes.
I was not going to even settle for what I believed about myself because I realized that it was limited knowledge. And I got to a point where I wanted to live out God's dream for my life. And I just made up my mind. And until you get to that point where you believe for yourself that God has said this about me, that I am wonderfully and fearfully made, that I am made in God's image, and you really embrace that. I find that we have difficulty in really embracing who God says we are.
Oh yes, absolutely.
And when you can truly embrace that for yourself and then live your life's purpose from that point, you would really be willing to step out in faith.
Oh yes.
Because you don't know what you don't know. Right? You don't know what you don't know. And if God knows me better than I know myself.
And he does.
And he does.
He says, I knew you before you were even formed.
Right? So I'm just prepared to believe God right now.
Oh yes. Oh, I love that because it speaks of vulnerability with and in God.
Yeah.
You know, full dependence on God, not on yourself. Because when we think about the past, when we think about what others might say, it is because we think that it is all dependent on us. We need to impress, we need to shine, we need to do this. But if you just go to that place, as you're saying, of I am choosing to believe God, I am choosing to believe what he says about me, then I need to depend on him, you know, with everything that I have in me. That is beautiful. So thank you so much.
You know, the one other thing that I really would love to share is, you know, there are many ways to be successful, but I've found a more excellent way, and that is with God.
Oh my God. Yes. Absolutely.
That is the most excellent way.
Yes.
You know, where I feel fulfilled. I know that what I'm doing is what I'm called to be doing. Yes, there are challenges with it, but I also know that there's grace to be able to withstand all things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We are definitely going to be back for more of these wells of wisdom.
Yeah.
So I just want to thank you so much, sis, for coming. I thank God for everything that he has put inside of you, and I just want to thank you so much that you have taken that step to just say, you know what, I am sharing it with the world, because the world needs more of such things.
Thank you.
Thank you, sis. And thank you so much for joining us today. If you have not already done this, do not forget to like, to share, to subscribe, because I know that there is someone in your life who desperately needs to hear this. So let's share so that many more people can be blessed. And I will see you in the next one.